I overheard my girlfriend brutally mocking me to her best friend about our sex life. What happened next completely shattered our relationship. My girlfriend, Jenna, and I have been dating for just over 2 years. I am a veterinarian, and we met in my office when she brought her dog in for an ear infection. What should have been a 15-minute meeting grew into an hour-long discussion. I've never been so smitten by a woman before. Before Jenna, I lived the bachelor lifestyle and assumed I'd be unmarried forever, but that life of occasional flings was becoming old. Jenna is a charismatic woman with a large circle of acquaintances, her best buddy being Dylan, a gentleman from her hometown. I trust Jenna, but I'd be lying if I claimed I didn't care about their connection. I don't get angry or quarrel with her about it. She assures me that they've been friends their entire lives and have never had a sexual relationship. I understood that they were merely pals and attempted to buddy up with Dylan. He's been to the city 3 times and seems like a nice man, but he doesn't appear to like me much. Jenna claims he's simply being protective, but I get the impression he's jealous. Jenna finished graduate school this spring, but she's had a difficult time finding work. We've been living together for a year, and while I'm financially secure and don't mind covering expenditures, I've made it clear that if she gets a job, she must begin contributing. She texted me on Monday to say she had gotten a job, one she truly wanted, after some hard interviews. I was so pleased with her that I decided to surprise her by leaving work early and purchasing her favorite drink, Chinese takeout, flowers, and a necklace she adored from a boutique. I wanted to make the occasion exceptional. I returned home and entered the basement to get the hidden necklace, intending to surprise her. As I climbed the basement stairs, I overheard her talking on the phone and giggling excessively. It was cute, so I decided to surprise her. She was speaking with Dylan, which was not unusual. But then I noticed they were laughing at me. Specifically, about our sexual experiences. I heard her reply, "No, he doesn't even compare to my ex. My ex had at least 3 inches on me. I feel horrible every time I eat a mini carrot in front of him. It must be unpleasant for him to watch me munching on something his size." She chuckled and said, "His body is amazing as long as he keeps his boxers on." I don't care what people on Reddit say about the size of my member, but having her make fun of me in front of someone I already felt embarrassed about was extremely terrible. What made matters worse was that what she was saying wasn't accurate. I'm quite average, nothing spectacular, but certainly not comical. She also ridiculed me for being gorgeous but not super smart, which was strange given that I'm well educated. Hearing her rip me apart like that felt like a strike in the belly. I departed after that. Yes, I threw the flowers out the vehicle window and cried in the parking lot. I believe she heard the basement door close or saw my car go since she began messaging me shortly after, wondering when I was returning home. That was Monday, and I still haven't mentioned it. I'm not sure why. I guess I'm still absorbing things. It's extremely embarrassing and hurtful, but gosh, I adore this girl. I am not saying I will necessarily forgive her. I just want to emphasize how difficult this whole situation is for me. I know I should bring it up with her, but how? Any recommendations on how to begin this conversation? I am deeply upset and I'm not sure whether I can forgive her for this. TLDR. My girlfriend and her male buddy made fun of me about our sex life and my penis. It's quite hurtful stuff. I feel like a puppy that has just been kicked in the face. I am devastated, all jokes aside. I plan to propose within the next few months. I don't see how I can forgive her or remain with her. Advice? Edit. Wow, hey, thank you everybody. I simply wanted to say that I will surely split up with Jenna. I had a beer with 3 of my buddies tonight and told them everything. Their sentiments are similar to the majority of yours. Dump her and do it quick. I called my mother and told her about it. Yes, I told her everything, as embarrassing as it was. We are getting close, and I wanted her to know the complete tale. I've never heard her so outraged about anything. She knew I had purchased a ring for Jenna. I'll post an update once I finish it. It will most likely happen tomorrow, although I may not talk about it for a few days. I'm going to be a wreck emotionally. Thank you again for your comments, messages of support and encouragement. I never expected so many people to be rooting for me. Update. I, 33M, overheard my girlfriend, 28F, make harsh fun of me in front of her best friend, 27M. When I say brutally, I actually mean brutally. Well, Reddit strangers, I stayed strong and broke up with Jenna on Thursday evening. This has honestly been the most dramatic few days of my life. I am fatigued. Things became really unpleasant on her end. Sorry for the lengthy post, a lot has transpired. At the recommendation of my friends, mother, brother, and many of you, I spoke with her in a private but still public setting. The idea was that someone who could be so harsh and reveal themselves as a liar would try to twist things and say she left me because I wounded her, or something similar. I'd like to believe she wouldn't do something like that, but who knows, especially after what has transpired. Better safe than sorry. I considered simply boxing up her belongings and breaking things up without explanation, but we've been together for nearly 2 years. I felt the best thing to do was face her gently and listen to her. Even if her explanation did not influence my choice to end our relationship, I wanted to give her the opportunity to explain. So I took her to a wine bar downtown with small private booths and half curtains. She had been saccharine sweet since Monday, which indicated that she either A. felt bad about what she did, B. believed I had overheard her, or C. had no idea why I had been aloof. She dressed quite smartly, and despite everything, I must confess she looked stunning. She was also quite loving and made provocative comments regarding future plans. Normally, my precious little baby carrot would have been overjoyed with this, but given the circumstances, it was difficult to appear normal. I had practiced what I was going to say several times, so as soon as we sat down and grabbed our wine, I started. I can't remember exactly what I said, my adrenaline was pumping, but I basically told her how much I loved her. How she's the first woman I've ever felt so close to that I opened myself totally and trusted her. I told her she was the only woman I'd ever considered marrying, but I didn't mention that I'd already bought the ring. I remarked that I hoped to have children with her in the coming years. She kept interrupting and claiming she loved me too. Then I looked her in the eyes and asked her directly why, if she loved me so much, she made fun of me in front of Dylan. Her expression seemed slightly satisfied. As expected, she initially denied it, claiming she had no idea what I was talking about. She stated that Dylan is aware of how much she loves me and would never make fun of me in front of him. I simply glanced at her and said, "Come on, Jenna." Even after I told her I'd arrived home early on Monday and overheard her conversation, she denied it. It was frustrating, but I maintained my composure. I told her that we were both aware she was lying and that what she said was unforgivable. I couldn't understand why she would say such things to Dylan, especially since she was lying solely to make fun of me. She kept rejecting it, behaving as if I were insane. She stated she loved me, was not unsatisfied with our sexual relationship, and would never complain about me. If I hadn't witnessed the exchange, I would have believed her. She deserves an Oscar for her portrayal. Some people inquired if I was certain she was talking about me. When she compared me to her ex and his cracking member, she did say my name, so there's no question. In the end, I told her I'd take us home so she could get the necessities and her dog. My brother and his girlfriend were also present. I wanted to make sure there were other people around to serve as witnesses. So I let her grab her belongings while refraining from being abusive or disruptive. I told her I'd pack up the rest of her items and set them out for her to get any time she wanted. She couldn't believe I was breaking up with her. She pleaded with me, but I was set in my ways and refused to change. It was difficult not to cry in front of her when she continued stating how much she wanted to be with me forever and that she hoped to be the mother of my children someday. I own my house, and since Jenna hasn't assisted with bills like rent or utilities, I wasn't too concerned about, to put it frankly, forcing her out. She continued asking me what she was supposed to do and where she should remain. I told her it was no longer my problem and that she could stay with friends until she could obtain her own apartment. The majority of the furnishings and decor were mine anyway. She only had clothes and toiletries to take with her. Even the refurbishing she had done in my house was on my dime. Then came the waterworks. She burst into tears, claiming she didn't understand how I could treat her like that and that she thought I was a decent guy. She must have said this a million times. I assured her am a good guy, which is why I didn't just put her belongings on the front lawn, change the locks, and leave without explanation. Then, to my surprise, she dug the knife in deeper. She said she had no idea why she had said those things to Dylan, but eventually admitted she had. She went on to say that maybe it's because Dylan brings out the best in her, and she can laugh at things that would ordinarily make her cry, like my penis, apparently. I told her it was unfortunate that if what I had heard was her best, I would hate to witness her worst. It was spiteful of me, and I generally avoid making sarcastic remarks, but I told her she could return to her hometown and live with Dylan or her ex-boyfriend who had the 9-inch dick. It was astonishing how quickly the tears dried up. She flicked the switch and told me I had no idea how to treat women, that I was a loser with a little penis, and that I'd be alone forever. She stated she never truly loved me and that I was more of a friend, but she didn't want to upset me, so she stayed with me. She also indicated she would have declined if I had proposed. Just for good measure, she underlined that my penis was a baby carrot, and that I would die alone. I told her that I would rather die alone than marry someone who was harsh, did not love me and did not respect me. No joke, she started screaming. Not words, just a loud, terrifying scream. It was disturbing. And she stormed away after calling me a dirty pig. After settling the bill and apologizing to the waiter for the incident, I exited, and there she was, standing outside, crying. I knew what she did was terrible, and everything she said minutes before was equally as bad, but I still didn't like seeing her like that. I did not want to leave her on the sidewalk. I live in New England, and it is already quite chilly here. I offered to drive her back to the house so she could get more of her belongings and told her that she needed to find another place to stay once she packed a bag. She agreed, and we didn't chat at all in the car. It was one of the most embarrassing experiences of my life. My brother and his wife were already at the house when we arrived. His wife remained inside while Jenna packed, and my brother waited outside with me. It passed by uneventfully, and she was picked up by her girlfriend. I made sure I had my house key back before she departed. Later that night, Jenna texted me frequently. The messages varied from sorry to sorrowful, angry, extremely angry, and back again. I did not respond to any of them. I merely texted her the next morning to let her know that her remaining stuff were on the porch and that she could pick them up while I was at work. I didn't hear from her until almost the end of the afternoon. She sent me a nasty text, wishing me every ill. I ignored it. When I arrived home, it was a disaster zone. She'd smashed everything. I'm not sure if she made a spare key or knew how to pick the locks, but she managed to get into the house. She ruined everything. Smashing precious items, ripping up furniture, clogging 2 sinks, and leaving the water running. She left the refrigerator door open and dumped food all over the kitchen. It was a wreck. The only considerate thing she did was lock my 2 dogs in a bedroom so they wouldn't be wounded by the broken glass or eat the scattered food. I own 2 vehicles, one for regular use and an SUV for work, which I use to carry large or unusual animals to the clinic. In the midst of all the turmoil, I had neglected to give her a key to the SUV for emergencies. I stepped outside to check, and she had also wrecked the inside. She poured flour and tomato soup throughout the interior. It's just things, I suppose, but the fact that she could do something so childish and horrible on top of everything else astounds me. Last weekend, we went to a play, hung out with friends, played Monopoly, invented a drinking game, watched Netflix, and made love several times. My house and automobile, as well as I, have been wrecked. It's amazing how quickly things change. Not my best moment, but I was so irritated that I immediately bought 25 pounds of baby carrots from Costco's rapid delivery service. I had them transported to her friend's house, addressed to Jenna, 100 pounds of baby carrots. They deliver within an hour. She sent me a flurry of fascinating and offensive texts that evening. Yes, it was petty, but my only regret is that I wasted food. I hope she donates them or prepares some of them. So that's it. I blocked her last night because the nasty texts kept pouring. I'm feeling really beaten down right now, and I've sobbed more than I have in a while. It is apparent that I made the proper decision. Jenna is obviously not emotionally stable or mature. She truly is harsh, and I know I deserve better. Since Monday, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on myself as a partner and trying to figure out what caused her resentment, or whatever it was. I'll be really honest here. I work a lot. I try to make time for the people I care about and avoid bringing work home when I've had a difficult day, although I do occasionally. I understand this. Jenna and I have had previous disagreements about it, and I've made a concerted effort to schedule my days so that I can return home on time. I've also attempted to avoid terrible days at work as much as possible. However, anyone who is a vet or has worked with one understands that we are always on call for emergencies. Sometimes we have patients we need to check on or stay with all night. Time off might be difficult. It is achievable, but it is difficult. My staff is fantastic and can manage most issues, but I still receive a lot of calls or texts from them when I'm on vacation or away for the day. I'm sure there were occasions when Jenna felt second best to my job. Well, I know there have been. She's told me so before. I attempted to make modifications, but there was only so much I could do. As far as I can recall, I've never been intentionally cruel to Jenna. I've had terrible days, been cranky or absent, and we've had our fair share of arguments and fights, but nothing harmful or excessive. I genuinely thought we had a good relationship and were both pleased. I know I was. It's difficult not to question myself and wonder if I'm truly a disappointment, or if I neglected her to the degree that she felt unloved enough to act the way she did. I do not know. But I know that, nevertheless, the way she treated me and responded to the breakup was completely unacceptable. I didn't deserve it, and that's on her. So thank you for supporting me, Reddit. It's been wonderful to read all of the supportive comments and suggestions. It's time for me and my baby carrot to find a woman who values us for who we are. TLDR, I broke up with Jenna on Thursday night. It didn't go well. She turned vicious and destroyed my house, car and me, but I did it and it's finished. I've blocked her on my phone and social media. In a fit of anger, I also sent her 100 pounds of baby carrots. Edit. I did file a police report and take pictures, which might help me reclaim part of the money lost through insurance. The police report is unlikely to yield any results because I cannot confirm it was her. The same goes for attempting to sue her in small claims court. Frankly, I'd prefer not deal with her anymore. I'm going to hope that insurance covers the damages and then move on with my life. Am I the asshole for skipping my friend's birthday without warning, because his girlfriend called me the typical girl best friend? Original post. Miles and I have known each other since we were 2 because our parents are best friends. Now I would not say Miles is my best friend. He is a good friend and we do hang out on occasion but see each other on all major holidays because of our parents. We are in our early 20s. The problem started because of a dumb childhood memory. When we were 8, we had a wedding play at school after care. I played the bride and the groom. It was a play with horrible songs and uncoordinated kids. Obies, our parents made pictures and videos of that. And we each have one picture on our family picture walls. Miles is dating Lindy. They met 3 years ago and started dating last year. Lindy does not like me. So every time we coincide at a celebration, she makes a comment about me being the typical girl best friend. She once said that I secretly wanted to sleep with Miles. I have no clue where she got that impression from. Miles and I have different friend groups and schedules. Besides the monthly catch-up over food, we didn't really meet that much. Things got worse when Lindy saw the wedding play picture. The comments just got more. She even started DMing me on Instagram saying she knew what game I was playing. I talked to Miles once about this, and he told me to give her time. So his birthday was on Saturday and I was invited. Lindy wrote me saying something along the lines that she was going to supervise me. This was their first birthday as a couple, and I was not allowed to take up his time. I was honestly just fed up. I tried talking to Miles once more, but he said the same thing. So I just skipped out. When the party started, I wrote a quick "sorry I can't come" and told him my mother was going to bring his present. Now he is upset with me for missing his birthday. Lindy is mad that I made it all about myself, and my parents are upset I missed a family function. Ada? Edit. I didn't show anyone the messages because it didn't want to make more out of this than it is. I didn't want to poison anyone against Lindy, especially not if she is a new fixture in Miles's life. That would make both our lives more difficult. I hope that just talking about it might be the more adult thing. My parents are not mad at me or blowing up my phone. A la Reddit fashion. They and Miles' parents were just bummed out that this was the first birthday that I ever missed. As to why she is jealous, I have no idea. Neither of our parents ever wanted us to get together. There were no jokes or anything about it. I think they also never would want that. The wedding play picture is in the living rooms because they loved the picture and it was our first play. Update. I will update you in the first part and clarify some things later. After my post, I talked to Miles. At first, he was kind of mad and thought I had been blowing things out of proportion. Some more details are in my last post. We came to the conclusion of taking more distance while he figures that all out. Mainly because I did not want the added stress of petty drama. Then I talked to my parents and explained to them what was going on. They were really upset by how Lindy treated me. Obviously they weren't going to get involved, but it was nice to get that off my chest. Then nothing else happened. Until Tuesday evening. Wednesday was a holiday, so some of my friends took the opportunity to go to an Irish pub to do karaoke. At some point my best friend and I went to pee and touch up our makeup. Then Lindy and some of her friends walked in and kind of cornered us. It wasn't pretty. They stared loudly talking about man-sealing bitches and how some women were just born to be homewreckers. And imagine being pathetic enough to pretend to be a guy's friend to fuck him and how pick-me's are the worst. They kept kind of edging us physically into the part where the hand dryers were while pretending we were not there. Until my best friend had enough and just pushed through them while pulling me behind her. We were almost at our table when Lindy went right behind me and pulled my hair, so that I fell backward onto like a metallic piece where you were supposed to put your feet on. It hurt so bad that I started to see white. And then a girl next to Lindy poured beer on me. I cannot really tell you what happened, but there was a scuffle, and someone dropped one of those heavy pint glasses on my head. The Lindys were taken away by police and I was taken to the hospital. My parents were furious, as were Miles's parents. They both came to the hospital. I was severely concussed, my nose was fractured, and the worst thing is that I have a hairline fracture in my back. I stayed in the hospital till yesterday morning. Miles did try calling me a bunch. According to my parents, they told him not to visit me right now. I did get an official notice saying that apparently there was now a legal case open against Lindy and one other girl for not only assault but also public disturbance in the bar. So now I'll have to deal with all that legally. I finally talked to Miles. And long story short, those of you saying Lindy was isolating him was a sign that an abusive relationship was right. He told me all the things she said to him to make him feel awful. She would freak out about anything in her life and take that out on him. She would scratch him and bite him when she was mad. Our talk ended with both of us crying and apologizing. We will be closer again. At least we can talk about these things more often. He broke up with her and is hiding at my parents' house. So that is it for now. Update 2. I'll update immediately and go into details later. There has been an official court date set for my process against Lindy. It took 2 months to get and is another 3 months out, but something is something. Our lawyer said that Lindy is probably not going to jail as she is a first-time offender. If she goes to jail, it would be no more than 3 months. Most likely she is going to have to pay a fee of 100 days of her income or something like that. I have let my father deal with this 100% because I have no head for it. There is a second lawsuit going on at the same time as now I am legally chronically ill. The hairline fracture was not a passing thing but developed. I am in pain daily. Not every day is bad, but not a day passes where I am not in at least a 2 on the pain scale. As a result, I have not been able to work. Right now my insurance pays 75% of my former income and my workplace covers the rest. But I am probably going to get fired. So my insurance filed a claim against Lindy to pay my lost wages. I am right now not in contact with Miles. I tried to be supportive, but being disabled by his jealous ex-girlfriend made me bitter against him. He was a victim. But now I can't live my life. And I blame him partly for that. I am in therapy to work through all of that and have taken up some new hobbies. I have started to write more and am looking into courses or online classes. Miles's parents have been apologetic and have supported me a lot. His mother had been a saint. She volunteered to drive me everywhere, and I have actually become friends with her. We even went to see Deadpool and Wolverine. She is a SAHW, so we have a lot of time. One of Lindy's friends reached out through my lawyer, offering a testimony against her own friend. She also sent a letter apologizing. To make it short, Lindy had told them I was bullying her and that Miles had once already cheated on her with me. So that's where we are right now. Take care and shield your back. New update. Hey everyone. So, here we are again, and yeah, things have moved along, but honestly, I'm just tired. The first court date, it came and went. It was my insurance company versus Lindy, and surprise, she lost. She's on the hook for most of my lost wages, which is nice, I guess. I didn't have to be there the whole time, which I was grateful for because I've had enough of this mess. As for the criminal case, well, we don't even know if we'll end up going to court for that one. My lawyer is handling it, and I've handed the reins over to my dad because honestly, I've had it. I'm no legal expert, and after that insurance loss, Lindy's in a bad spot. Her legal team is apparently scrambling to do some serious damage control, but at this point, that's not my problem. More of Lindy's friends have crawled out of their hidey holes to give testimony. Turns out this wasn't her first rodeo. Another girl came forward with evidence of Lindy pulling similar stunts back in high school. This poor girl was just sitting next to Lindy's then boyfriend, being a normal human, and Lindy went off the rails, starting rumors and spreading literal breadcrumbs on her table to trigger her celiac disease. Yeah, she's that kind of psycho. No one could prove it at the time, but now, with all these friends popping up, it's all coming to light. And believe me, these girls didn't have some moral epiphany. They're just terrified of getting fired or having anything negative pop up in their records. The receipts are coming out, and it's getting uglier by the day. Now, let's talk about Miles, because that's a whole other dumpster fire. I'm still not speaking to him. Turns out he's known for a while that Lindy was threatening him with bad things if he didn't cut me off and make his parents stop talking to me. And this idiot laughed it off. Thought she meant breaking up with him or something. But no, she was dead serious, even started stalking me and one of his cousins. She made some fake profile and was sending cryptic messages to his cousin. What did Miles do? Talked her down. Yeah, that's it. She kept giving him ultimatums, and he just rolled with it. So, yeah, I'm even angrier at him now. He knew she was unhinged and didn't do a damn thing about it. He let her spiral while I got dragged through the mud. His dad finally got involved and dragged him to the police, where they filed reports about all the crap Lindy pulled. They have evidence now from the stuff with his cousin and even photos from when Lindy got physical with him. So at least something's happening on that front, but it's too little, too late if you ask me. As for Lindy, well, she's gone radio silent. Except for TikTok, of course. My friends keep sending me her cringy videos, and it's honestly kind of disturbing. She's acting like nothing's happening, like her whole life isn't unraveling. She's got a new boyfriend now, and they're making those awful lip-sync videos together. I think she's living at his place, but who knows? Maybe her parents cut her off. Wouldn't be surprised. Oh, and the guy? Yeah, one of my friends looked him up. Let's just say he fits right into her pattern. As my grandma would say, there's a lid for every pot. On the health front, still nothing good to report. My pain hasn't improved, and I'm now waiting for a surgery appointment, which looks like it'll be early 2025. The pain is radiating to my left hip now, which is just great. I feel like that sad little dog from the Black Cauldron. But, hey, silver lining. I've made friends with a few of the nurses who work with me. One of them braids my hair, which is kind of sweet. I'm also seeing a physiotherapist regularly, mostly for massages at this point. It helps, but some days I feel like I'm just patching myself together with duct tape. The therapist suggested I start doing pool exercises, so now I'm in an aqua aerobics class for seniors. No, there isn't a disability-specific class in my town, and frankly, I didn't feel like looking too hard. The old ladies are a riot though. Well, except for one who always looks miserable, but honestly, I'm not one to talk. One piece of good news, I finally got approved for a wheelchair. So at least I can go out with my friends without feeling like my body is falling apart after an hour. I've also been taking a few university courses for fun and playing way too much Fallout. So there's that. And that's where we are. It's still a mess, but I'm just doing what I can to get through it. Thanks for sticking around, I guess. A player's mom nearly ruined my D&D game, but instead led me to love, friendship, and a new role as Uncle Caleb in a found family. Original post September 13, 2024. I run 2 D&D games. One I run at a local game shop. It is family friendly and I welcome anyone who can behave and take a shower. Second game is run at my house with me and my 4 oldest friends. We get drunk and screw around in the campaign. It's a campaign we have been running since 5e first came out and is very much built around our terrible humor. Very not public play space friendly. New player is a nice 9-year-old kid named Simon. He loves playing in my public game and found out I run another game. Asked if he could join and I told him it wasn't really open to new players. He was cool about it. Simon is a good kid. Simon's mom found out later when she picked him up and tried to force him into my other game. I had to get the owner to help me calm her down and get her to leave. Simon was in tears apologizing. I felt so bad for him. Owner told mom if she ever set foot in his store again he'd ban her and Simon from the store and get the police involved if he had to. She left in a hurry and almost boned a car in her rush to leave. Simon's dad drops him off now. He came to me and the owner and begged for our forgiveness. Turns out mom wanted Simon in my game as a form of babysitting so she could go out and party with her other terrible mom friends. We told him as long as it's him dropping Simon off there won't be any issues. He's a good kid, and I'd hate to lose our monk. TLDR, I run 2 games. One is kid-friendly, the other is private at my home. Kid wanted private games. I said no. Mom got mad and ruined everyone's day because she is a bad person. Edit. Thanks for indulging in my drama sharing. Love the hobby. Simon is a great little dude. His dad is a great big dude. Glad to have met them. Thanks everyone for letting me spam replies and shoot the breeze. You're all great. Update September 17, 2024. If I have any updates on things I'll post on my profile so as to not spam unrelated things on various subreddits. Original post here. Hey everyone. It has been pure chaos the last few days, but after everyone was so nice I figured I'd let you guys know what has happened since it's mostly good news and should put some minds at ease. I ran into Simon's dad and his sister Anna at the store and they invited me out to lunch to chat. Simon's doing pretty well all things considered. Dad says he and mom were already most of the way through the divorce process, but he and his almost ex-wife agreed to keep it quiet until they had finalized some agreements. Mom showed her ass yet again and basically admitted she didn't want Simon very often and negotiated for some money in exchange for giving full custody to dad with a few holiday visitations, if she can make it. She's moving a few states away to live with some of her friends from college. He doubts they see her more than once a year if that. He said it went as well as he could have hoped. He's just glad it's almost over. Auntie Anna, as Simon calls her, is dad's sister. She's stepping in to help with Simon while dad juggles everything. She brought him to the shop this weekend and she hung out by me while I ran the game so she could learn. Everyone had a good time. Even got a few giggles from Anna, so I'll consider that a GM's job well done for first impressions of the hobby. Shame the first RP she had to see was me as Marty, the farty lizard folk merchant NPC that they ran into last session. Lots of hissing and farting noises out of me for 15 minutes. Simon was able to pass enough con saves to buy what the party needed from Marty, discounts in exchange for risk of poison damage, and they tricked the corrupt town guard into accidentally arresting themselves due to an elaborate performance by the bard and Simon's monk. Game went well. Anna and I talked while Simon looked at all the dice sets for an hour after the game. She's been pulled into a parent group of parents of kids in Simon's class. I guess Simon has all the other kids wanting to try playing, and since my private game is on hiatus for at least 6 months, I offered to run one if the parents were comfortable with it. I end up getting added to the group chat, and Anna's house is where we're gaming. Next day Anna and I met up for lunch and I helped her put together a gaming space in her living room. A few of the moms came by to drop off some snacks and to introduce themselves in person. I feel like I've been adopted into a family of families, but I don't even have a family of my own. Everyone has been great. I'm so glad Simon is surrounded by these people and not people like his mom. The kids were all very well behaved. Anna and I were a bit nervous being the chaperones for a bunch of kids, but Simon's friends are great. They all had a blast making characters and doing the test encounters I had for them. There's a girl that made certain she was always seated next to Simon and barely took her eyes off him. She has a huge crush on him, but doesn't think he even realizes what's going on. It's adorable. Parents were all happy with game night, and honestly I liked running for all kids way more than I had expected. Anna and I agreed we were fine with doing this regularly, so now Anna and I are the game masters to everyone. Also, I'm now Uncle Caleb to Simon. Not sure what I did to earn the title, and I definitely didn't get emotional when he called me that. So that's about it. I still run 2 games. I've been adopted by a 9-year-old. And I've taken over Anna's living room with minis and battle mats. Simon is an incredible little dude and I'm glad to have met him and his amazing family, one parent excluded. TLDR, mostly good news for Simon and his family. I've been adopted into said family somehow, and I'm now running a game for a bunch of Simon's friends in place of my private home game for the time being. Edit. Thanks again, folks. Like I said in a comment earlier, I don't foresee there being anything else to update on that would be relevant to this sub, so, barring some other bizarre incident happening to me while I'm gaming, I suppose this is me fading into the background. I think I smell something. Oh God, Marty's back. Edit 2. Just gonna sneak this in here because people are actually messaging me like crazy and I wanna just state my status with Anna. I am deeply infatuated with her. I could just go on about her like a love-struck puppy, but I'm embarrassing myself enough as it is. We've got a busy next couple weeks ahead of us, but luckily for me a lot of that busy time will be spent with her working on things for Simon and the game nights. So for now I'm gonna let things be, give us time to know each other better. We've been texting pretty regularly the last few days, and I'm starting to think there's something here. Once things calm down I fully intend to ask her on a date. Too many folks in my life and on here telling me I'd be an idiot not to. Also spoke with Drew, Simon's dad, this morning and he's doing alright. Said he'll be better in a few weeks when he's able to take some vacation. Gonna take Simon on a father-son trip for a few days. He's exhausted. Even with the reduced workload he's just now getting time to rest. Poor guy needs it. New updates. I've fallen really hard for a woman I just met. September 27th, 2024. It's been a week. I've known this woman for about a week and I've already fallen hard. Infatuation levels are all set to max. She's incredible. Gonna be spending a lot of time with her for a few weeks and I and a lot of folks we know are saying I should ask her out. I'm going to. I just want to let us get through this busy point and take a bit of time to get to know her more first before I do that. If anyone sees this September 22nd, 2024, I'm just going to update here if I have any good news to share at some point. Update for anyone still curious. October 4th, 2024. Hello everyone. While this is an update originating from a post on RPG horror stories, there isn't much of a horror story anymore. Just some updates on my situation and the people in my life. I wasn't expecting as much interest after the initial drama, but I've also been made aware just how much of a dense goober I am, partially thanks to folks on Reddit pointing some things out. My nephew Simon is the coolest little dude in the universe. His interest in board games is starting to really take off ever since Anna brought him over to my place and he saw my shelf of games. He absolutely loves Ticket to Ride. I gave it to him and he wants to play it next game night. The public game party is now chasing the big bad through a few portals leading to a chronomancer's domain in the stomach of a kraken. So that should be fun. Simon has expressed interest in learning to DM. I'll teach him everything I know. I would gladly play in any campaign that boy runs. He said he has some ideas and I intend to help him make those into dice-based reality. As for how he's handling the situation with his mom, Simon is doing well, but he struggles. He's very clingy toward Drew. I'm betting this is normal for kids in Simon's situation. Simon has Drew, Anna, and a good head on his shoulders. He'll be fine. Drew and Simon spend a lot of their time together just doing little projects. They're currently putting together a puzzle while watching Simon's shows. Drew told me this was a once-a-month thing due to his work schedule. Now it's several times a week and they both love it. Drew did need a little time to decompress from dad mode, so one night he and I went out to a bar for a few drinks. He told me about his plans to take Simon out of town on a father-son trip. Simon's just excited the hotel has a pool. Drew says he doesn't plan to date or do anything anytime soon. The ink's still dry on the divorce papers. I think being a single dad is what I want to be right now. He wants to focus on Simon and figuring out what life looks like for them going forward. As for Anna, she was initially busy balancing work, Simon, game nights, and a bunch of other responsibilities since she stepped up to help Drew. Things stabilized a lot faster than anyone expected, with the divorce resolving smoothly and Simon being the easiest child in the world to take care of. Now that Drew is using vacation time, she has had a bit more free time until he goes back to full-time work. So she's been catching up on some of her hobbies like baking and playing games on her Switch. I had to come over and run the cables to hook it up to her TV because she couldn't reach it. She also needed my help setting up her Wi-Fi when she got a new router. And she has had multiple issues with her laptop that I've had to resolve for her. That woman is brilliant in every other regard, but truly clueless when it comes to tech. But I was paid for my ticket resolutions in homemade meals. So I'll call it even. The more time I spent with Anna, the more confident I got that asking her out was the right call. So I asked her out and she said yes. Unfortunately, Anna gets migraines semi-regularly and one hit her just before our date. I came over and she was visibly miserable, but trying to convince me it was okay and we'd still go out. I practically had to order her to go get into bed. Got her migraine pills and some water for her. Blacked out the curtains and told her to call if she needed anything. She called me a few hours later asking for something to eat because she was feeling better, so I got her some dinner and ate with her. She kept trying to apologize, but I told her to make it up to me with another date the next day. Which we were able to actually go on. It was a fantastic night. Had some amazing food and walked around town and talked, then went back to drop her off and we sat out in my car for another hour and talked. The last thing she said before getting out and running in was, "You're my boyfriend now, by the way," before shutting the door. I had no intention to argue even if she'd left me time to. Since then we've gone on a few more dates in our free time and we're both really happy with how things are going. It turns out Anna was a few days away from asking me out herself if I didn't make a move. She also hasn't stopped teasing me about Marty and his farts. And I told her about the werewolf Pierre Wolf I'm using soon and she won't stop patting my head and calling me the good boy. I'm not giving her character previews anymore. I guess that's it. In the last few weeks my life has changed so drastically it's insane. This may be strange to say, but thank you for sharing in this internet sharing circle thing that this became for me. My husband died, but I have to pretend he was a good man. Overcoming a *C to reclaim freedom and start a new life for myself and my children. Original post. My husband passed away 3 months ago. I was relieved of that. He abused me financially, mentally, and even physically. When I got pregnant, he convinced me to quit my job, saying that he would take care of me. I could never buy anything again without asking his permission. I couldn't even buy a cream without asking his permission, and he decided if I could or not, even months ago, that I had a little money of my own. I had to ask him for permission to buy something. What was mine was his and his was his. But I stayed there because I still loved him and I didn't have a place to go. I had too low self-esteem and let myself be stepped on. When I stopped loving him, he had already had his first affair. He made me believe that I was to blame for the affair because I didn't want to have sex months after my birth that left me torn and I had to receive stitches. I was already planning my exit and saving money little by little while I was working selling things from home, since he wouldn't let me work outside because he was very jealous. I wanted to pay for a lawyer. He was having another affair with a friend of his, which luckily kept him busier, and I didn't care anymore that he didn't pay attention to me. I wanted him to stay as far away as possible. I knew that man and he knew me. I could have made a big fuss, but I didn't. I kept quiet, planning my way out while he and that man slept together in secret. I only felt disgusted by my husband, nothing more. But my husband died in a way I never would have expected. He is now a martyr. When someone dies, all the sins of that person disappear. Because that's what even my family thinks. Those who knew about his affair and how he manipulated me are now talking about how good a man he was, and we shouldn't insult someone who's dead. Everyone around me talks about how beautiful our relationship was. His family talks about what a great man he was and how he always focused on giving everything to me and our kid. His affair partner hugged me at the funeral, saying that my husband loved me. His friends told me what a great person he was. Everyone talks about how good but he was and how he is now an angel in heaven. And I have to pretend to be sad. The day he died I cried a lot, but not out of sadness. I cried with relief and I felt free. It would have taken me too many years to save to pay for lawyers with my little store without him realizing that I was keeping money in secret. He would have kept everything. He would have made my life a hell, and I know it because he had told me so every time I stood for myself. But now I have the house, I have everything, I have the monthly money for being a widow, I have my children totally with me. I have started to become a psychologist. Everyone thinks that I do it to cope with my grief, but no, it is to overcome the abuse I suffered from him. It was really hard to pretend to be sad at the funeral, but I did it for my child. I did it because now everything is over and I'm free. If I made a fuss, my ex-mill would have done something so that I wouldn't keep anything. They were just like him. But now I'm just a sad widow who needs help in their eyes. The silly widow who didn't know anything, but that's helping me to be free and have what I deserve. Sorry for the bad English. I use the translator for many parts. Edit. We are not from an Islamic country, and here same-sex couples can live and marry freely. He just cheated on me with a man like he cheated on me with a woman. I guess he was bisexual. Relevant comments. Organic 2003. I am stuck on his affair partner hugging you and telling you he loved you. She had the balls to show at the funeral. Damn, you have more control than I could have ever mustered. Cheers to a life full of fun and love. OOP. His affair partner was his football teammate and friend. He is a man. Thanks. PM_ME_happy_ thinks your husband had an affair with a man? Or another woman? You have a child? Or children? OP. His first affair was with a woman, I think. The second with a man, of which I know. Maybe he had others that I don't know. For privacy reasons I don't want to reveal the number of children, so I prefer to leave it at that. Update. It's been several weeks since I last posted, and I didn't expect my post to end in other places. Honestly, I had totally forgotten that I posted here, but a few days ago the lover and friend of my ex-husband. I have started calling my deceased husband that way. I don't want to be eternally tied to the idea that he is still my husband even after death. Death did me the favor of separating us, visited my house saying that he found my post. I didn't expect him to find this and it scared me a bit, but honestly there's nothing I can do about this anymore if someone has posted it elsewhere without asking me first. One of my sons let him in when I hadn't heard the doorbell, so I had no choice but to let him in to not make a drama in front of my kids, and I wanted to know what he was going to say. Once alone he told me that he knows that I know about him and my husband having an affair because of the post I sent to TikTok, although I never did any post on TikTok. That's why I think someone uploaded this there. He told me that my husband was not the best husband, but he was a great friend to everyone and a very hard-working man to everyone. That even his family misses him too much, and even though he had his mistakes in the past, that I should let go of the past and stop digging into it cause we're all better off like that. He was insisting for a while to such an extent that I felt intimidated by him to the point he reminded me of my husband, and it is the first time that I have that feeling with a man that is not my ex-husband. I can talk peacefully with them, but this situation made me feel on the verge of a panic attack because of his attitude. He's basically scared that I'll tell everything. He's gay and I don't know if he has a boyfriend, but maybe he does, and that's why he doesn't want me to say anything about their affair. I've been a submissive woman for years. My ex-husband turned me into a fearful woman that I wasn't before. He made me the kind of woman who was always going to put her head down, but when he died I felt so happy and liberated I cried with relief for days. And when this man came into my house to tell me what to do, it was like seeing my ex-husband again, giving me instructions about how to behave and what to do. The man who knows very well that I was in an abusive relationship because he knew how my ex was and chose to sleep with him anyways. The man my husband made me cook for and then fucked him as if I were just a maid was at my house telling me that my ex was a good person and that I should shut my mouth. He was telling me what to do and I just punched his face. To be honest, I wanted to slap him, but for some reason I felt so angry that I hit him, and it felt like hitting my husband too. I don't regret it and I felt good. I yelled at him and told him to leave or I was going to tell everyone what happened. He ended up leaving the house and he has been quiet since that day. My main plan was just to shut my mouth and let go of the past, but that is one thing, and a totally different thing is that this man comes and wants to impose on me what to do as if I were a doll. Maybe my reaction wasn't the best, but I'm tired of people telling me to shut up. I never managed to say anything to my husband, and that day I felt that I somehow did that. I haven't told anyone yet, nor do I think about doing so, but if he does something I won't hesitate twice before this time whether to make a TikTok or post on Facebook talking about everything. With the issue of the house, with the economic crisis, I am not sure that anyone can afford what a house like this is worth, but for now I have focused on finally being able to get a better job in the future, to be able to rent a house and be able to rent this house. That could be a really good way to have money. My other goal in the future is to buy a small piece of land, no matter how far it is. I want to have something that is my own and my children. My children don't miss their father too much, and I understand them. It has taken me a while to get them a child psychologist, but recently they started to go to their sessions and they are doing well. I also go to a psychologist. I think the best thing I've done is to start making excuses for my ex-MIL and my own family for not seeing them as often as before, and I've started the stage of cutting off contact little by little, making excuses with work or that we're not at home, although I still have to let my ex-MIL come home from time to time. I think even my kids are happier when they see that my own mood is better. I doubt that many people are interested in this, but thank you for the messages I received. Although many do not understand that cultures and laws are different and buying a house or moving to the other side of a country in a month is impossible for many. Relevant comments. Llama_48,213. The audacity. He thinks you are still the maid. Good for you for showing your strength and sending him on his way. The nerve. I would strongly advise you to coach your children to not allow anyone in that house. Not just for AP if he returns. This includes the family you plan to distance yourself from. OOP. Yes, they know that they should not open the door to strangers, but they open the door to people they know because my ex-husband always sent them to open the door for him. I have begun to explain to them that they should not open the door to anyone without telling me first, and now I leave everything with a lock and key.